our government in order to bring about something that's going to destroy the climate?
I mean, you described it earlier as an adolescent protest, but clearly people will get exercised about the security implications of somebody being able to get in. I mean, that could have been something much nastier that was thrown in your face.
Well, it could have been nastier. Thankfully, it was sort of, I think, organic and non-toxic. But look, of course, whilst I'm prepared to take my fair share of the green revolution onto my shoulders, I'm less keen on having it in my face. I don't, invite these sorts of incidents, but I also don't think anyone should overreact. And if there's a security issue, that's not for me, it's for the police and others. I lived with permanent round-the-clock security when I was Northern Ireland Secretary. I don't think I need to go back to that.
Can I tell you what she was protesting about? I mean,
well, she said something about an aircraft.
Yeah, the third runway. She was asked about the third runway. It's the plane stupid campaign. Have they gone a bit too far? They were on top of Parliament not long ago.
Look, as well as drawing attention to themselves, they've done a much greater service in drawing attention to what we need to do in this country to bring about a low-carbon industrial revolution in our country. And the reason why that's important is not only because we won't have a high-carbon future, but because there are so many business and employment opportunities as businesses reduce costs and become more efficient in what they produce and how they produce, which will be very important for our economic future. But in creating demand for low-carbon goods and services, we've also in this country got to exploit the supply chain and business opportunities and employment opportunities. That's what we're about here this morning, and that's what I'm dedicated to.
But what about
the point that she wanted to make? She felt that by coming back as an unelected, as a lord in the cabinet and essentially an advocate for business, she feels that you've corrupted, was the word that she used, corrupted the government's policy on Heathrow and pushed it in a direction that the people, given that you are unelected, have no opportunity to complain about or change.
Well, I'm accountable to Parliament, obviously, but I think that's a fairly complicated argument for such a simple and crude action to support. And look, I suppose in a democracy people are entitled to have their say, but I rather obviously that people said it to my face than throw it in my face.
And were you alarmed when this happened? We know now it was only green custard. You didn't know that at the time.
Was it green custard? I thought it was green soup or...
Custard, we were told, is her line.
She says it was custard.
She says custard.
Some wag suggested it might have been guacamole.
Guacamole? Or was it
mushy peas?
Or mushy peas. You see, you don't know, do you?
Very hard to tell
You can make these mistakes. You can go into fish and chip shops in the north of England and not know whether it's mushy peas or guacamole.
Please tell us that story is true after all.
I'm afraid it's not true, but it's a great story nonetheless.
Just what about your security? Lots of people are asking questions about it. Are you going to speak to the government about stepping it up?
Look, this is a question for the police, not for me. As I said before, I went through a long period in my life when I had permanent 24-hour-a-day security when I was Northern Ireland Secretary. To be honest, that's not quite what I want to go back to. But other people will form these judgments and make these decisions, and I will do whatever is sensible.
So you're not afraid for your security?
I'm not afraid for my security, as long as I'm doing my job, doing it conscientiously, addressing the right issues as we have been this morning at our low carbon industrial strategy conference. I mean, that's what I'm paid to do, that's what I'm accountable to Parliament for, and that's what I'm going to keep on doing.
Today on climate change, and yet we know that Peter Mandelson was instrumental in forcing through the decision on the third runway, a runway that nobody wants, that 80% have said they don't want, that all the majority of MPs have said that they don't want. And the fact is, we cannot stand by and allow Peter Mandelson to gain political capital out of pretending to be green. The only thing that's green about Peter Mandelson is the slime coursing through his veins. The country know that. He's not elected. He has no right to be forcing through these decisions. He's overriding our democratic process. And when that happens, it's our democratic right to take action to stop it.
Is this going to change anything?
I think it will change something. It will teach Peter Mandelson that nobody thinks that he's green. It will teach him not to stand up and talk about low-carbon futures when he is proposing and pushing forward a high-carbon future that will jeopardise people on the planet, the lives of millions of of people in order that he benefits big business and his friends at BAA. It's not okay. We're not going to put up with it, and he needs to watch, where he goes, because people will respond in this way.
And finally, what message do you want people to take away from this stand today?
We want people to stand up and to be counted and to say, you know what, I don't want Peter Mandelson in my government either. I didn't elect him. He's not part of my democratic process. So why is he making decisions that affect the future of people and the planet? If we build a third runway, all our carbon targets are out the window, unless all the other industries reduce to zero. Is that fair? I don't think so. So we need to stand up and be counted. Direct action is the way that things have happened and got changed in the past, and we need to continue that tradition.
And are you going to keep targeting Peter Mandelson?
If Peter Mandelson keeps taking a platform on climate change and pretending to be green when he's not, then we will keep holding him to account for that. And if he starts to actually behave in a way that's representative of people and is in the interest of the future of our planet, then of course we will support him and back him in the same way as we would do to Ed Miliband if he starts to make the right decisions on